This reality stuff is pretty tough, huh? It kind of makes you wish the world of music videos and feature films and ad campaigns were the real thing. But they're not. As we just saw, the physical risks that go along with sexual activity are real and even potentially fatal. But, as we saw earlier, that if you decide to wait, then that's not easy either. So, what are we supposed to do? I don't think there's any easy answers. But I also think that that's the whole point. Whatever we decide to do or not to do, we need to think very seriously about the consequences. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And then decide what's ultimately right.
Here's the problem. So much progress has been made in fighting STDs. But with the AIDS epidemic, we just don't have all the answers.
With modern medicine and everything, why haven't they just come up with a cure once and for all? A shot or a pill or something that just kills the stuff.
Well, at this point, they can control some of the diseases. But in most cases, they can't kill them. They just keep them from getting worse.
You can get rid of them eventually, can't you?
Yeah, sometimes you can. But even if you do, the next time you have sex with somebody who's got it, you can get it again. And the next time you have sex with anybody else, you can give it to him or her.
What do you mean, him or her?
It was just a matter of speaking. Also, when that person that you slept with has sex with someone else, then that someone else can get it, and that someone else, and so on, and so on. And that's how a disease can become an epidemic.
Mrs. Lewis, when do you think that they'll find a cure for AIDS?
That's the scary part. According to the experts, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Can AIDS at least be controlled, like some of the other diseases?
I really wish it could. But right now, if you get AIDS, you will probably die.
I thought that's why condoms were used. To keep from getting diseases and to keep girls from getting pregnant.
Well, condoms definitely increase your chance of prevention. No doubt about it. But there's no guarantee. You don't hear this very much, but condoms have a failure rate of about 10 to 15%. Some say as high as 30. It's a great average if you're a baseball player.
You mean you can still get one of those diseases or get pregnant even if...
Even if you think you're covered, so to speak?
Hey, you make it sound like we're moments away from some gigantic plague. Personally, I don't know anyone who's got any of these diseases besides Mark here.
I understand what you're saying, Brian, but it's affecting this school and this town. It's happening here, more than you or I know.
So what are we left with? Condoms that may or may not work?
Hey, why don't we just say no?
Right. Yeah.
That's for people who are addicted to drugs, Tommy.
So what if you're addicted to love? I mean, Celeste, as we have heard, is a love addict.
Tommy, we've heard, is a love addict, too. In his dreams.
Okay, guys.
What about safe sex? What do they mean by that?
For all you hear about safe sex, there really is no such thing. There's only safer sex. But then again, you can't get hit by the pitch if you're not on the ball field.
In other words?
In other words, you could avoid intercourse altogether until you're committed to one partner the rest of your life.
As in marriage?
Believe it or not, it still happens. Some people do wait.
Celeste, will you marry me? Just kidding.
Wait for marriage. Is it practical? Is it possible? Does it even start to make sense? I mean, let's face it, we all know that regardless of the dangers and the risks involved, that some people are going to be sexually active no matter what. But what about those who view waiting, abstinence, as a better decision?
Some say, well, if I love him, then it's okay, you know. But how do you know if it's love? That's all I say. How do you know if he's the one that you're going to marry?
If my girl said no, then I would respect her. And that's a real show of true love.
There's got to be more to your relationship than just sex, and that I don't think sex is the only way that you can express your love for someone.
We've had several girls tell us that are in a relationship, you know, with that sexually active, and it's a bad relationship. They realize that, because all it consists of is sex, that they will not get out of that, because if they do, that means they have to start dating again. And so we go, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with dating again? And they go, then we'll become real sluts, having to sleep around with every guy we go out with. The whole mentality is that if you go out, you have to sleep with a guy.
People saying, everybody's doing it, you got to get out there and do it, everybody's having a good time. I think I would say to them, number one, you're not weird. There's nothing wrong with you. Everybody's not out there doing it.
I know my standards. I know what's good and what's bad.
They are looking for love, which they need. But they've been led to believe that in order to receive love, you need to have sex. Now, the unfortunate consequence about that is that many of them come out of that sexual relationship much more lonely than they entered into it.
There's someone out there for me, you know, and to give myself up to someone that I think I love now is pretty dumb to me.
Most of what I've known about teenage sexuality has come from teenagers themselves. Recently, I sponsored a Write Your Heart Out essay contest, and teenagers wrote in over 10,000 pages about premarital sex. Instead of me telling you what I think about kids having sex, let me share with you what they're telling me. One young lady wrote, "Dear Josh, having premarital sex was the most horrifying experience of my life. It wasn't all the emotionally satisfying experience the world deceived me into believing. I felt as if my insides were being exposed and my heart left unattended. I know I can never have my virginity back. I dread the day that I have to tell the man I truly love and wish to marry that he's not the only one, though I wish he were. I have stained my life, a stain that will never come out."